Ever wondered why Australian politics often makes headlines for all the wrong reasons? Well, let's dive into that, shall we? Picture this. You're strolling down the street grabbing your morning coffee when you spot a news headline. Another Australian politician storms out of Parliament, or controversial policies cause uproar down under. It's enough to make anyone feel a wave of embarrassment. And as an Australian citizen, I feel it tenfold. Now it's easy to brush us all with the same chaotic, out-of-control brush based on these headlines. But let's set the record straight. The majority of us Aussies are a friendly, laid-back bunch. We're more interested in enjoying our daily lives, soaking up the sun on our stunning beaches, and sharing a laugh with our mates than the constant drama that unfolds in the political world. You see, here's a fun fact about Australia. Voting isn't just a civic duty, it's a legal obligation. I know it sounds like a strange concept. It's a bit like a democratic twist on communism. Democracy at its heart is about freedom of choice, speech, and belief. But the reality is, our government seems to have a larger say in our lives than we'd like to admit. The election process, well, it's not exactly what you'd call fair or equal. The major parties have a stranglehold on the system, making it a Herculean task for independent candidates to stand a chance. And don't get me started on the counting stations where party members are known to tamper with independent votes to ensure their party comes out on top. Then, there's the double voting fiasco. Party members are encouraged to vote twice, once through postal votes and again in person. Conveniently, they seem to forget they've already voted. This not only solidifies their party's power, but also makes a mockery of the democratic process. So, while the headlines might paint us as crazy, remember this: we're just navigating a flawed democratic system. But there's more to this story than what the headlines reveal. Stick around and let's unravel the real face of Australia together. In Australia, voting isn't a choice, it's a legal obligation. A strange concept, isn't it? Welcome, dear listeners, to the paradoxical world of Australian politics. Picture this: a system that on the surface champions the ideals of democracy, freedom of choice, speech, belief. But in reality, the government wields a heavy hand. Consider this: our voting isn't a suggestion, it's a mandate. Yes, you heard right. Every eligible Australian citizen is legally required to vote. And while that might seem like a robust way to ensure everyone's voice is heard, it's not exactly as democratic as it seems. Our election process, you see, is a bit of a muddled affair. The major parties have a firm grip on the system, making it almost impossible for independent candidates to get a fair shake. It's akin to a David and Goliath battle. Only this time, Goliath's got the backing of the system, and David's slingshot is nowhere in sight. But wait, there's more. Ever heard of double voting? It's not an urban myth down under. Big party members have been known to vote twice, once by post and once in person, and they get away with it, claiming a case of forgetfulness. This doubles their power, making it even harder for the little guys to compete. And then there's the issue of the aging community. They've become a prime target for major parties, who send campaigners to aged care facilities to secure votes. Meanwhile, the new, honest candidates can barely keep up, juggling their day jobs and campaigning efforts. Support for these earnest contenders practically non-existent. They're left to fend for themselves, relying on personal funds and sheer determination, while the major parties enjoy the benefits of taxpayer-funded campaign programs. So, take a moment to ponder this question. Is our election process really fair or equal? Or does it lean more towards a kind of veiled dictatorship? It's a tough pill to swallow, but necessary to understand the true state of our political system. So, is the election process fair or equal? Let's delve deeper. The major parties seem to have a strong hold on the system, but what does this mean for independent candidates? In the Australian political arena, independent candidates face an uphill battle. They're up against the major parties, who have the resources and the reach to dominate the scene. These independent candidates are just like us, everyday Australians who want to make a difference. They have ideas, passion, but what they don't have is the funding or the established party machinery to match their major party counterparts. This imbalance creates a skewed playing field, one that doesn't favor the underdog. Now, let's delve into the murkier side of politics. There have been whispers, allegations even of vote tampering. It's been said that party members stationed at the counting stations have been known to misplace or tamper with independent votes, ensuring their party holds the upper hand. This isn't just a blow to the democratic process, it's a punch to the gut of every Australian who believes in fair play. And then there's the practice of double voting. You heard it right. The big party voters are encouraged to vote twice, once through postal votes and again in person. The audacity is astounding. They claim they forgot they had already voted. This cheeky move gives the major parties an even larger slice of the vote pie, solidifying their power at the expense of true democracy. It's a tough gig for independent candidates, made even tougher by these underhanded tactics. They're battling not just to win votes, but to ensure their votes aren't tampered with or overshadowed by double votes. It's an unseen battle hidden under the veneer of democracy. But the madness doesn't stop there. Let's take a closer look at another concerning aspect. In the next scene, we'll uncover how the aging community has become a key target in the political game. Stay tuned, mates. The rabbit hole goes deeper, and it's about to get even more interesting. What happens when the aging community becomes a key target for the major parties? The answer is, unfortunately, exploitation. In the land down under, where we value mateship and a fair go, our seniors have become pawns in a political chess game. The major parties, with their well-oiled campaign machines, descend on aged care facilities like seagulls on a chip. They swoop in with promises and pledges, aiming to convince our older generation to cast their vote in their favor. It's a strategy as shrewd as it is disheartening. These seniors, who've worked hard all their lives, contributing to the society we enjoy today, deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. Instead, they're often bombarded with one-sided narratives and the pressure to vote for the right party. And let's not forget, these seniors are often isolated, with limited access to alternative viewpoints. It's a manipulative game, and one that's played out behind closed doors. This isn't to say that our seniors can't make informed decisions. They absolutely can and do. But the imbalance of power, the lack of transparency, and the deliberate targeting of this demographic is a stark reminder of the lengths to which major parties will go to secure power. But there's another side to this coin. And what about the honest candidates? Let's shed some light on their struggles. Those who dare to challenge the status quo, the independents, the newbies, the ones who truly want to make a difference. They're fighting an uphill battle. While the major parties are waltzing into aged care facilities with their well-rehearsed speeches, these candidates are juggling their day jobs, their families, and their campaigns. They don't have the luxury of focusing solely on politicking. Yet they persist. They campaign on their own dime. They make time. They work hard. Why? Not for power, not for prestige, but for the promise of a better Australia. An Australia that's fair, that's equitable, that truly represents its people. So when we talk about the forgotten Australians, let's remember not only the seniors who are targeted, but also the honest candidates who are overlooked. Their struggles are real, and their stories deserve to be told. How do honest candidates fare in this political climate? You may ask. The truth is, they face a daunting uphill battle. In a system dominated by major parties, these brave individuals often find themselves at a significant disadvantage. Without the support of a political juggernaut behind them, they must rely on their own resources. This means balancing a day job with the demands of a campaign, a juggling act that leaves little time for anything else. Their struggle is further compounded by the lack of fair play in the election process. With vote tampering and double voting strategies often employed by the big parties, honest candidates must compete not only with their political opponents, but also with a system that seems rigged against them. Despite these challenges, they persevere, driven by a dedication to their ideals and a desire to serve the Australian public. These are the true faces of Australian politics, the ones fighting for change from within a flawed system. But remember, behind all the chaos, there are true Australians like us. So, amidst all this chaos, where do we stand as Australians? Well, in the face of a seemingly chaotic political system, we remain resilient and optimistic. We've journeyed through a maze of questionable election processes, the stronghold of major parties, and the struggles of independent candidates. Yet we remain undeterred. We are not the headlines that paint us as wild and chaotic. We are the everyday Aussies who just want to enjoy life without the constant political drama. And while our system may seem flawed, remember that it's our sense of humor and camaraderie that truly defines us. Despite the madness, We continue to navigate this system, striving for a fair and equal democracy. We are the friendly locals, the laid-back bunch, the true face of Australia. So, next time you see a headline about Australian politics, remember the true Australians navigating this flawed system. At the end of the day, we're all in this together, mate.